school, so I don't know if that counts. I don't know how many coaches we had, but my uncle, 3 times removed, was a Hall of Famer, Division IV Greco-Roman wrestling in 1972.
There you go. Yeah. That's if there's an accolade from a family member that you can reach out to, then go for it. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Chase is in West Virginia. Not a career if he only made it through high school.
Man, I have to agree with you on that. I absolutely lost it when that dude said that. But, no, man, I define a career as definitely playing collegiate sports. And like you all said, if you had a cup of coffee playing professionally overseas, that's what you define a career as. I had the privilege to play at a school called Fairmont State University and play underneath head coach Joe Mazzulla. So that was a pretty cool experience. And got to play overseas for a few years, and he is as genuine as you see on the court in today's age as he was back then. So appreciate you all taking my call. First-time caller. Thank you.
Thanks, Chase.
He has a career. He is the first person to call
with
the actual career. Played overseas.
That was great. It's great how he slid it in at the end. Like he wasn't trying to come right out and just put his own credentials out there first. Slid it in at the end. I appreciate that.
Joe Mazzulla coached him. He played overseas. We've had our first person to call with a career. Way to go.
With a career.
Way to go.
With a career. Yeah, if you received a paycheck at some point in time to play a sport, then you met the bare minimum definition of a career.
That's all you had to do. You did it. You had a career. You know.
You had a stint. You had a stat.
You had a stint and a stat and a career. I think that I think we're onto something. We could have careers as WWE superstars taking on Logan Paul. He's a tag champ right now.
All you need is one match, right?
One match.
That's it.
One match. Good.
They call your name, entered you into the ring. That's your stat, I think.
Good. And also, when you go, they kind of make up their own weights and heights. You know, you could just tell them you're 6'1". Nobody would think anything about it.
Tell him standing next to a guy who's 6'1", who's also announced as 6'1". And
he'll be then announce him as 6'8". That's how wrestling works. It's all kayfabe, as they say. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, when you were at WrestleMania, the energy, what was it like comparatively speaking to other events?
Oh, it is as rowdy and intense a crowd as any sporting event. Like Roman Reigns, CM Punk, like there were people coming into the arena arguing about who was going to win that match, as if it were like a real rivalry game. Like that was what was going on. And I'll tell you this, I was at WrestleMania 30 when Undertaker's streak ended. It won 21 straight WrestleMania matches, lost to Brock Lesnar, and it was as impassioned a reaction I've ever heard in an arena on any sport. Like I'll put it up with any sporting event's devastating loss that anybody's ever had. Watching the Undertaker lose was just like that. The crowd booed for 30 minutes.
And by the way, real quick, Brock is done, right? He's calling it a career now?
Seems to be done. Took his boots off, took his glove off. The end of one of the great combat fighters in sports history. Career is done.
Career done. He also, I think, had a football career, maybe, if it qualifies.
Oh, I don't know. We got to see if Brock had he played I think a preseason game, maybe.
Cup of coffee.
There you go.
Stat.
I think he had
got a stat.
Preseason game. I'm not going to tell him he didn't have a career.
Great career for Rich Eisen. His show is up next. This has been ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM, Channel 80.
Evan Cohen here. Did you know the average employer sorts through about 250 resumes for one job opening? That's a lot of time reviewing applications. Well, if you're hiring, here's good news. You can now review resumes and applications faster thanks to ZipRecruiter. With ZipRecruiter's new feature, qualified candidates who are very interested in your job show up at the top of your list. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sports. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sports.
At Wrangler, we know the essential question for any guy is, can I go like this? It could be date night, boys' night, work, or your nephew's school play. It could be anything. And the last thing you want to do is change. That's why Wrangler makes jeans, shirts, jackets, and tees that answer yes to life's essential question. You can go in Wrangler. Check out our latest styles today at Wrangler.com. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
This is a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes. The East Carolina baseball team will make a short trip to Norfolk today to take on Old Dominion for the second and final time this season. The Pirates are coming off a series win over Wichita State last weekend, where freshman Braden Bachman had a breakout performance.
Coaching staff, man, they're awesome. They're great. They see that we're all putting in work, and I've had a few good at-bats for the past few games, so just that trust and that level of companionship between all the coaches is really shows.
Left-hander Nick Moran will get the start for Cliff Godwin, while the Monarchs will send right-hander Jackson Okonkwo to the bump. We'll get an Old Dominion preview this afternoon on Pirate Radio Live with the voice of the Monarchs, Ted Alexander, beginning at 3 o'clock. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes.
Jeff Stein here at Brown & Wood Buick GMC. Pirate Nation, get ready. It's baseball season. You got hot dogs, apple pies, and GMCs. That's right, GMC 1500s. You got 0% or 20% off. $11,549 off when you have a trade-in, and we have over 50 to choose from. We have 4 brands, 3 generations, 2 rooftops, and 1 goal to make sure you leave a happy customer. Only at Brown & Wood, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Pirate Nation, your dream home starts with Unshakable Builders. Now building in Sutherland Estates in Greenville and Dolostone Court in Wilson, with homes available now. And stay tuned, Cross Creek Townhomes in Greenville and Whitaker Glen in Farmville are coming soon. Browse available homes, explore floor plans, and see past projects today at unshakablebuilders.com. Have questions? Use live chat, fill out the contact form, or call the office at 814-9105. Unshakable Builders, build on a solid foundation.
Spring is a great time to plant flowers, trees, and bushes. When planning your landscape, please keep in mind that you should never plant anything within 3 feet of a gas, electric, or water meter. The same thing applies if you have an electric transformer in your yard, except keep plants 8 feet clear of the front in case crews need access during a storm or an outage. Always remember to call 811 at least 3 business days before you dig to avoid underground lines. This important safety message is from your neighbors at Greenville Utilities.
Do you want to get rid of wrinkles? How about tighten or lift your skin? Want a smoother skin texture or get rid of brown spots? Combining personalized treatments, expert training, and a deep passion for skin health, Beauty Bar Medi-Spa is dedicated to enhancing your skin and boosting your confidence from the inside out. Contact the licensed professionals for a free consultation and ask about their newest technologies and treatments. Beauty Bar Medi-Spa on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Enjoy your visit. Love your transformation.
The Buccaneer Music Hall is your beacon of music in the land of the Pirates in ENC. Open at noon 7 days a week with live music. Come enjoy sports trivia with me, Clip Rock, every Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, it's live local acoustic night, along with line dancing from 7 to 9 on Wednesday. Thursday, there's a brand new lineup with Singo starting at 8, followed by karaoke with DJ Dog. Ladies and free both Friday and Saturday nights with the best local bands in the area. Finish the weekend with free games and DJ Kids Scene.
Y'all come get bugged up.
Washington's favorite place to eat and where all the locals go is down on Main Street. Down on Main Street is open 7 days a week. Stop by for the house salad with grilled chicken, the half club sandwich with chips, or everyone's favorite, the fried shrimp plate. After work, Down on Main Street is the perfect spot for dinner and drinks on the patio. Join Down on Main every Wednesday for half-price wings from 4 p.m. to close. Down on Main Street in historic downtown Washington. Go Pirates!
The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. This is Eastern North Carolina's longest-running sports radio show. The Brian Bailey Show is on the air. The Brian Bailey Show on Pirate Radio is brought to you by
Bojangles, Bostic Sugg, Michelob Ultra, East Coast Grading, Greenville Utilities, Papa John's, Pepsi, Taft and Hagler, The Rick House, and Tiebreakers.
Live from the First Flight Credit Union Studios in the heart of the Pirate Nation, here is your host, Brian Bailey.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome into our show. We've got a good one planned for you. Coming up next is Dylan Johnson. He's in his second year as the play-by-play voice for East Carolina Pirate Baseball. East Carolina on the road coming up this evening against the Monarchs of Old Dominion up in Norfolk, Virginia. So we'll talk about that, talk about the season as a whole, and get Dylan's thoughts on some of the things related to Pirate Baseball. And then we'll talk Carolina Hurricane hockey. Our good friend Todd Gibson from CBS 17 was in Raleigh, as was I, last night for Game 2 between the Ottawa Senators and the Carolina Hurricanes. That double overtime win for those Hurricanes. They lead the series now 2-0. So we'll check in with Gibby coming up around 12:30. We'll also have some thoughts on spring football at East Carolina. Going to be a good show. Dylan Johnson kicks us off right after this.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Are you tired of dealing with IT headaches? Does this sound familiar? Phones, Wi-Fi, or email always acting up? Are you afraid of phishing scams, data breaches, or ransomware attacks? Every minute your systems are down, you're losing money. If you're nodding your head, it's time to call cybersharks.net. We handle IT so you can focus on growing your business. Fast, reliable, and always there when you need us. Call 321-7800 today and get IT support that actually works. Cybersharks.net. We keep your business swimming.
It's bow time. Remember those bologna biscuits you grew up on? Well, they're back and better than ever at Bojangles. Bite into a Southern tradition with our new fried bologna biscuit. It's a thick slice of savory bologna seared and served hot off the griddle on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And right now, you can get 2 of them for just $5. But hurry in. This deal is only available for a limited time, only at Bojangles. It's bow time.
Oh, dude, that home run just busted your windshield.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
You're not worried about it?
Yeah, I've got Brandon Manning and Farm Bureau Insurance.
Hey, Pirate Nation, this is proud ECU graduate and former baseball player Brandon Manning inviting you to join my team at Farm Bureau Insurance. From home, auto, or life, give me a call today and let's talk about your insurance coverage and about the Pirates. Call 531-1812 and go Pirates.
This is Isaiah Winstead. You're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, providing reliable utility solutions to the Greenville region since 1905. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back on this Tuesday. Todd Gibson joins us a little bit later to talk Carolina Hurricane hockey. Dylan Johnson's on the line right now, his second year as the play-by-play voice of East Carolina Pirate Baseball. Dylan, how are you on this Tuesday?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. You guys getting ready to make the trip up to Norfolk, Virginia to do the Old Dominion East Carolina game. You should have a lot of listeners because, to my knowledge, there's no TV tonight, right?
Yeah, that's right. So everybody come hang out with Coach O and me as we head on up to your old stomping ground.
Yeah, that is my alma mater, Old Dominion. And if you're hanging out with Coach O, you couldn't hang out with anybody better than that. So you got good company there. Let's talk about this Pirate baseball team a little bit. It's been an up and down year. Obviously, the injuries just have taken its toll, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been a big factor all year long. There's no getting around it. I mean, Van Kempen and Weber, the 2 weekend arms, has been the biggest piece of it. But then a team that really did have so much depth coming into the season, we heard a lot about it in the preseason, but that's just kind of been robbed from the Pirates here because of just the volume of position players who have been taken out of it too. And you can see it at times where we're shuffling the lineup around and we're looking for solutions or somebody to ride for a few games, and I think that's where it's showing up where you're missing it.
I tell you, those games can get to be long, and it's difficult enough as a play-by-play guy. But when you're doing a game like the one from Sunday, Pirates fall to Wichita State 13-1, you gotta start thinking that those aren't any fun. Now there are a lot of fun days, especially with Pirate baseball. But when you get a game like that, it can take its toll, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one where I remind myself, look, even those games are, I'd rather be here doing this than just about anything else. But you're right, some of those, and I'm glad I had Coach O with me Sunday at least. He's just got so much knowledge and stories, and we can kind of take the conversation elsewhere and roll with it for a little while. But, there's been some other times last year when we were in Birmingham, the series finale there, the Pirates were up 8-1, I think, early, and then gave up 16 runs in the loss, and I was by myself on that one, and man, that felt like an eternity.
Well, I bet it can take its a toll on just the broadcasting deal as far as trying to have energy, trying to be energetic. But when you get a game like that, it's tough. But as we said, there are all kinds of positives as far as Pirate baseball goes, year in and year out. East Carolina at 24-16-1 as we speak, 9-6 in the American. Pirates 17-8 at home so far this year, 5-8-1 away, 2-0 on a neutral site. This week, big week at Old Dominion coming up tonight, 6 o'clock start, and then South Florida for 3 coming up this weekend. And it's almost like every weekend, Dylan, we sit there and we say, hey, this is a pivotal series. And I know Coach Godwin would hear that and say, look, they're all pivotal, they're all in the American. But it seems like the further we go along with this thing, the bigger they get, because right now the Pirates are kind of teetering on whether or not they will get that at-large bid, and they may be playing for a berth in the tournament just in the American tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. They feel like they keep getting bigger because that kind of margin for error shrinks every time that you are unable to take a series win on the road or finish off a sweep at home. But, yeah, absolutely, Pirates still have a lot to play for to get their way back up into more comfortable resume numbers for an at-large bid. But then, the thing with me talking with the coaches, and we've heard straight from Cliff Godwin as well, is that the team is one game out of first place in the American Conference, so every series from here will be a big deal. And, winning the regular season championship in your conference, RPI kind of gets a lot of the attention, but that still means a good deal.
Yeah, I heard Coach O say that the other day on the broadcast, that winning the conference carries a lot of weight. And as you said, the Pirates are just one game out. If you look at the American standings, UTSA at 10-5 with an RPI of 41. And this is based on the Warren Nolan RPIs. UAB's at 10-5 with a 33 on the RPI. And then East Carolina at 9-6. So the Pirates just one game back of UTSA and UAB, Texas San Antonio and Alabama Birmingham. Wichita State is 8-7, a game behind East Carolina, and then South Florida is at 7-8. So you think about a key series, this probably is more important for South Florida even than it is for East Carolina, if you can say that, because South Florida is 7-8 with an RPI of 59. They've got a lot of work to do. Rice is at 7-8. Tulane is at 7-8. Memphis is at 7-8. And as you go further down, the RPIs, Tulane is at 134, Memphis at 121, FAU at 173, Charlotte at 94, if I read that correctly, and they're just 4-11. And that may be a mistake. One time I ended up today, I was doing some research today, and if you don't click on the right box, you'll end up in the wrong season. And I was in the wrong season for somebody else, so I didn't double check the Charlotte one. But if you got to be careful on the internet, don't you?
You end up in the wrong season, the numbers will get weird.
Yeah. In a hurry. But with that said, when you look at the Pirates' schedule now, they play at Old Dominion tonight, so a loss would hurt them much more than a win would help them, most likely, right? Because of the RPIs.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to Old Dominion at least helps make it better than when they came to us. But there's no doubt about it. You can't overlook this kind of game just because you ruled them last time and just because it's a midweek and it's not a conference game. The Pirates not in a position to overlook anything right now.
When you look at your body of work so far, through a little over a year and a half, what have been some of the things that you really like about doing this job, and what are some of the challenges?
I mean, what I like about it is probably what anybody would think. I get to be at every ECU baseball game, home and away. That's just amazing. That's something that I would be at many of the games regardless if I wasn't getting paid. But also getting to be around the team more often, coming through broadcasting school, and there's obviously kind of two different lanes for it. You can be somebody who kind of covers multiple different teams. You could be a freelance broadcaster, or you could be kind of somebody associated with a team. And I knew early on that would be, if anything, the kind of path that would most interest me, is to kind of feel like you're a part of the team, you're with them every game, and getting to see kind of the coaches and players on the road interact. Those have been some things that I've really most enjoyed. Kind of some of the challenges for it is just that day in, day out part of baseball. You mentioned sometimes games can get uncompetitive and drag out a little while. And so just from a filling air perspective, that can get difficult. But with baseball as well, there's just not much adjustment from day to day. You get into that Groundhog Day kind of routine of just turning the page to the next one. We're going to do it again.
One of the things you said you enjoyed the most is one of the things I've always enjoyed the most is traveling with the team. I had a chance to travel with football for several years. I've gone on some baseball trips in the regionals and that kind of thing. And you get a different feel for what exactly, the team does, how they handle themselves, away from the coaches, even with just the players involved. And you just get a chance to see a whole lot of different things, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. And, one of the things that for me, like especially last year, kind of just having my eyes open to how intentional and with a purpose, like every little thing is scheduled out and done. It just goes to show the length that Cliff Godwin and his staff would go to put his players in a position to win. But then you also get to see the players, aside from the coaching staff, kind of interact with each other. So, I've been able to see firsthand this year when Cliff Godwin early on in the offseason talks about, the kind of human beings they have in their locker room, and you get to see it up close when they joke around with each other. Especially, I love to see when it's a guy who early on in the season, the numbers aren't going the way that he would like or anybody would like, but they're still an engaged teammate. Everybody loves having that guy around. Things like that are pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've talked to Cliff and even the other coaches about a number of times. It's just, how do you balance the fact that only 9 guys go out there at one time and that everybody else has to know their role, has to embrace their role, and have to really just buy into what they are as a part of Pirate baseball. And if you're not playing that much, you have to continue to improve, to continue to show the coaches that, hey, I can do it. I can be out there. I can be a successful player for this Pirate program. Sometimes it takes patience, and sometimes guys wait a long time. But those guys, and I think that's what happens with really good teams, is the sooner those guys can embrace their role, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think case in point this year would be a guy like Davin Whitaker, who redshirted and saw kind of minimal action, not consistent playing time a year ago in his first action as an ECU Pirate, and then this year has really kind of taken a leap in his third year here in the program. I think that proves exactly your point about guys who really buy in. You see Davin is always out there, whether he's playing good or not, kind of has great energy, is fired up, is kind of keeping his teammates to the same level of energy with him. He really cares about playing at ECU and in Greenville, and it's awesome to see a guy like that really kind of step into his own this year and thrive. And I think that the more you can have like that, as evidenced by some of the top teams around the country, then the better off you'll be.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that perhaps the Pirates are, struggling with a little bit is the NIL concept and the transfer portal concept, because, there are so many success stories from the past where guys did wait a year, did wait 2 years, did blossom late and became stars. And I think that in this day and age, guys just aren't going to be patient enough. And I think that affects some programs more than others.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate, I think, side of college athletics right now, and it's something that we've, heard Cliff Godwin at times this year has kind of alluded to that with the different challenges that head coaches now face at the Division I level or any level in college athletics that they just frankly didn't used to have to do. And he, just this week talked about being as much psychologist, it feels like sometimes, as college baseball coach, if not more than he ever has had to in the past. So there's just so many different factors now that weren't here less than a decade ago.
It's almost like, the tough love syndrome that coaches often do. You have a bad cop, good cop on your coaching staff. But in these days, it's like you can give a little tough love, but if you give too much tough love, you might send the guy on the other side, and you could lose somebody like that. And I think that's a real struggle for some coaches.
Yeah, it certainly can be, but I think, Cliff Godwin's demonstrated, hearing him earlier in the year with Brandon Golden there kind of talking back and forth, and you hear Cliff kind of get at length and in depth about just leadership as a whole and kind of how he views it. I think that you can see just how expert he is in that situation. So it's a good thing we have a guy leading the program who kind of understands and has shown the ability to see what each individual person needs and to be able to provide that for them.
Dylan Johnson, play-by-play voice for East Carolina Pirate Baseball, heading to Old Dominion for the Monarchs and the Pirates coming up tonight. We'll take a commercial break right now. We'll come back and we'll continue on with Dylan on this Tuesday here on the Brian Bailey Show for you right after this.
This is a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes. In area high school baseball last night, Beddingfield routed Kinston 21-5. Parrott Academy defeated John Paul II 10-5. In high school softball, it was JP2 returning the favor by beating Parrott Academy 23-12. Farmville Central shut out Green Central 10-0. High schools that will be in action today: North Pitt will host Southwest Edgecombe. Jacksonville will travel to 19th ranked J.H. Rose. The number one team in the state, D.H. Conley, will travel to 11th ranked South Central. The Pan Pac of Washington will host North Lenoir. Green Central will travel to Farmville Central, and Aiden Grifton will host Tarboro. And in the NHL playoffs, it was the Hurricanes taking on the Ottawa Senators. Canes win it 3-2 and take a 2-0 series lead. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes.
East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep in Greenville has the best deal ever on Ram trucks. During the Declaration of Deals sales event, get a special finance rate of 2.9% that can be used with already fantastic factory rebates. For example, you can choose up to $11,000 off and 2.9% for 72 months, or get $5,000 off with 0% for 60 months. So if you've been thinking about a new Ram truck, now is the time at East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep. And how about the 26 Jeep Grand Cherokee? Save up to $6,000 on America's most awarded SUV. Or lease a new Grand Cherokee for only $429 per month. Or take the top off and enjoy the sun with a 2026 Jeep Wrangler. Save up to $7,000 on a 26 Jeep Wrangler, or lease one for only $329 per month.
East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep, across from the Cockerel in Greenville. Come see us!
36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, and $39.99 due at signing. Tax, tags, and $8.99 admin fee not included.
A pepperoni pizza for the table.
Thank you.
And may I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness, while the carbonation and notes of citrus enhance the flavor profile. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. pizza deserves Pepsi.
Miss, your burger is served.
Thank you.
And if I may suggest a pairing, this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. The sweetness of Pepsi perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger, while the citrus and carbonation elevates the taste for a truly stunning flavor profile. Bon appetit.
Now that is one perfect combination. If this is how the other half lives, I could get used to this. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
This is Parker Bird from ECU Baseball, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community owned, community powered. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back on this Tuesday. Todd Gibson from CBS 17 will join us in just a few minutes talking Carolina Hurricane hockey. A lot of fun last night at the game at Lenovo Center. Dylan Johnson's on the phone with us right now. Pirates and Old Dominion Monarchs against East Carolina in baseball coming up tonight, and he'll have the play-by-play for you on the East Carolina Sports Network. Talk about your college career a little bit, Dylan. You went to one of the prestigious schools as far as communications goes. I think the two that I always come to think of when I think of communications are Missouri. I guess that's more maybe journalism, and of course Syracuse. And some great names have come out of Syracuse, haven't they?
Yeah, no kidding. That's something that they tell you about when you're a student there, to brag on that when you come out, use that there's countless alum all over the place. Mike Tirico, kind of the big one as of late. Obviously, Marv Albert and others. Ian Eagle, Noah Eagle, who came out of Syracuse, and his very first job out of college was the L.A. Clippers radio job, which is not bad. But, obviously Noah Eagle is just at a whole nother level. But, yeah, I went to East Carolina for undergrad, communications student, to the hometown school here, and then to Syracuse. You're right, it's up there with, I think Arizona State also gets in that bucket for kind of the West Coast version of top broadcasting, sports journalism schools, but you absolutely get to learn from the best at Syracuse, so I like to think that I've kind of had that nice blend of learning from the best, getting the expertise, and bringing that back to Pirate roots, so to speak.
Yeah, I was always thought about a school like that. I was at Old Dominion, and then I transferred to James Madison, and then it's a long story, all the schools I went to, but I got out in 4 years. And the thing I learned the most from, though, was my internship at WAVY-TV, Wavy TV, Channel 10 in Norfolk, Portsmouth. Newport News is where they're out of, but basically out of Portsmouth. And I learned everything that I needed to learn, basically, how to do sports, at 5, 6, 11 when you do your sportscast, and it was invaluable. And you add something like that to the education that you get, and I think it really rounds it all out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't go down, or to this point, the path of being a sports broadcaster in the sense that you've made a great career out of, but they teach it well. I feel like I came out of there understanding what was needed to go in those kind of roles, and how to excel in those different types of positions. But I may not have had a lengthy kind of internship with one like that, but like many broadcasters would say, I did spend a lot of weekdays and weekends going to all kind of different high schools, both in bigger areas, rural areas, as well as doing some ACC Network Extra, your softball here, soccer there, stuff like that.
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit because there's so many different avenues. Like when I was coming along, I really wanted to be a sportscaster on a local TV station. My second choice was to be a sports writer at a newspaper, and my third choice was to be a teacher and to coach, coach football, coach basketball, whatever. Really, I wanted to coach football because I had a chance to play high school football. But I decided to go the TV route because I thought that was the most difficult, and when I would fail at that, I would go to the next level. luckily, I got a chance to do what I wanted to do in Greenville, and it's worked out, really well for me through all these years. And I had a chance to branch out, do some radio, do some writing, and that kind of thing. But there's so many, like you said, in radio, and even in TV broadcasting for games, play-by-play type things, there are certain ones that bounce around, and we have some really good ones that come here for the ESPN Plus broadcast. Patrick Johnson comes to mind, does a great job with all the stuff that he does at East Carolina, and they bounce around and they're able to do things like that. And then you have the ones, I don't like to call them homers because I think that's derogatory, but the guys who stick with one team are the play-by-play voice, like the legendary, the great Hall of Famer Jeff Charles, and he was so good for so many years, and you just have a different kind of respect, I think, for all those types.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different ways to do it, and they work for different people, each to their own. You mentioned you've got the kind of objective, come in, going to treat both schools kind of equally in terms of how much attention or airtime I'm giving to them, and then you've got kind of what my role is, which, like I said earlier, that's just kind of what always appealed to me, was kind of being, in a way, a part of the team, part of the program, kind of be that link between the fan base and the team, and to be that voice, as the term is given.
All right, is one of your challenges each game to interview Coach Godwin before the game? Because that tends to be a challenge for all of us in the media. Now, you don't get him after the game because Coach O gets that pleasure. But have you found that to be a challenge? And the ones that I've heard, I think you do a pretty good job with it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it can be challenging sometimes from the perspective of I don't know what to come up with some days, frankly. I mean, you just do it. We talk 4, sometimes 5 days a week before the game. Again, baseball is a little bit more, hey, next day we're going to roll the ball out and try to execute better, but the game plan is the game plan kind of deal. But, Coach Godwin's been great to work with in that capacity. He makes it easier on me, and you said that now, and then I had earlier this past weekend, John Packard, Bryant Packard's dad, was in town, was at the games, and so I got to catch up with him. He said something about it as well, and I thought, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody mention anything about the pregame interview with Coach Godwin on the radio, but now that's twice in a week.
Well, I'm telling you, I've interviewed him a number of times, and it's kind of, you never know what you're going to get. That's the honest to goodness thing is great guy, would do anything in the world for you. And I know he's kind of like the rest of us. Nobody likes to lose, and I know that's very difficult for him to face the media after a loss. I think he's still got some work to do. I've talked to him before, but it's the competitive spirit that you see, and this team has been a real challenge because I really think that going into this season, Cliff thought that he had the deepest, most talented team that he's had. They just haven't put it together yet and I think the injuries have a whole lot to do with it. He's not one, and the coaching staff's not one to say, hey, if we hadn't gotten hurt, we'd be, 40-10 right now or anything like that. But I think that's been a real challenge for him and the coaching staff, and the coaching staff. Those guys are really good guys. I mean, there's nobody better than Jeff Palumbo. There's nobody, Austin Knight. You get on into some of those guys, and I know he's got an outstanding staff, and I just think that we always preach patience, when things aren't going well, but I think you can see some reasons why this one didn't go so well.
Yeah, and you can kind of see it as the year goes on as well, where it's just the frustration. Frankly, it's going to be there, and I think it's just as much. The injuries for sure have been a part of it, and you're absolutely 100% right. Every game that the Pirates still have a shot to make their way to Clearwater in the season, as long as the season's not over, Cliff Godwin is going to push 200% to try to win every single game that he can. But in addition to the injuries, it's the games I think he's alluded to recently here, where the games where the team comes out either flat or however you want to term it, but some of those games where you're coming in on a roll, you've won a couple, you start out without a lot of momentum or offensive output in the early innings, and then the energy just kind of stays flat throughout. And so I think that some of those games that, frankly, haven't happened a ton in the past. And so those have been kind of what adds as well, I think, to just sometimes we're all wondering.
Yeah, and you try to work on your RPI best you can, but when you look at the schedule, Pirates play at Old Dominion tonight, 138 RPI. USF comes to town with a 59 right now. That's a 3-game series in the American. State is at 49. Pirates are playing at NC State. Then the Pirates come back 3 with Memphis, a 121 RPI, 3 with Rice, a 91 RPI. Campbell has a 92 RPI. That's a single game. That's a home game. And then the 3 at Florida Atlantic, 173 RPI. So the Pirates, they have plenty of games left. They need to stack some wins together. And the key thing, too, is Pirates are only 1 game out of first place in the American. If you finish first or second, that is such an advantage now, the way the tournament is set up. And Coach Godwin and a lot of coaches have been calling that for years, and why they didn't move to that years ago, because, the old days you started on Tuesday. Everybody played on Tuesday. If you won, you advanced to Thursday. If you lost, you had to play again on Wednesday. Then if you won the Thursday game, you advanced to Saturday. But if you lost, it's just, there were so many games to play and so much pitching that had to be used. And now, if you finish first or second, you don't even have to go to Florida until late in the week.
Yeah, and to start with, kind of going back to the RPI opportunities the rest of the way there. Part of when I get to talk to Coach O too is that's not only a baseball legend, but he's also been in that room when the tournament gets selected, and he knows, frankly, better than anybody else who I get to talk to regularly, how that's going to play out. And so when you ask him things like, hey, people, let's say overreactions happen after just about every series, you say, people are saying the Pirates' at-large chances are done, Coach. What do you think? And he says, there's just no way. There's still, your RPI is hanging, your strength of schedule is right, around where you need it to be, and there's still plenty of games. You mentioned NC State, and Rice and even Campbell were better RPI opportunities until they kind of struggled a little bit with Memphis for Rice and Elon for Campbell this past weekend. But you've still got a ton of opportunities left to make up ground there. And the new tournament format is a big deal, and Cliff Godwin's even referenced that on the record this year. Is just being able to go in and potentially not play until Friday is a huge deal. In years past, it was just kind of a war of attrition for whoever was left standing on Sunday. You just, whatever you had left, and you were really banking on your offense to pull you through. And even then, it was try to get as much rest as possible for whoever was going to a regional the following weekend. Now you've got an opportunity, again, ECU only 1 game out of first place, to go in and not have to play till Friday, and then you have the potential to, if you win out, you treat it like just a regular 3-game series. You can roll in with your pitching. Hopefully Colby Weber is back by then. That's what we're all praying for. You can roll in with your pitching set up the way you want it, and hopefully, be able to take your best punch at the other teams.
Wrapping things up with Dylan Johnson, 2nd-year play-by-play voice of Pirate Baseball, East Carolina and Old Dominion. Dylan, thanks so much for your time today. We certainly appreciate it. Best of luck in today's broadcast and the rest of the way, and maybe those Pirates can turn this thing around a little bit and make that NCAA tournament. That'd be fun.
Yes, sir. Good to be back on with a legend like yourself, and go Pirates.
I hear you. I keep telling you guys, I'm not a legend, I'm just old, but we appreciate it. Dylan Johnson joining us. We'll take a commercial break right now. And coming up next, Todd Gibson from CBS 17 talking Carolina Hurricane hockey. That was a lot of fun last night, and we'll talk about it after this.
When it comes to protecting your home, don't gamble with just any roofer. Trust the pros at the Boone Group Roofing. Locally owned by Toot Boone, they've been serving all of Eastern North Carolina with honest, high-quality roofing you can count on. They offer no money down, and every job is backed by a 5-year workmanship warranty, because your roof should be done right the first time. Don't wait. Call today at 252-714-0021. For a roof that's built to last and service you can trust, the Boone Group Roofing is on top of their game.
The Toot Boone Boogie.
Eastern North Carolina's newest concert destination is here. It's Carolina Crossroads Amphitheater, a brand new state-of-the-art outdoor amphitheater with room for 30,000 fans. Reserve your seat or grab a spot on the lawn and enjoy food trucks, vendors, cold beer, and cocktails all night long. It's just a short drive away right off I-95 in Roanoke Rapids. Carolina Crossroads Amphitheater, showcasing world-class entertainment and delivering exceptional experiences for every guest. Visit CarolinaCrossroadsAmp.com for more information.
Take your family, friends, and kids down to Play It Again Sports this spring sports season. We have all the hottest new equipment for the upcoming softball and baseball season, along with a huge selection of quality used sporting and fitness equipment. Whether you're a golfer, a bike rider, a soccer player, or a fitness enthusiast, we will have exactly what you need. Don't forget to do your spring cleaning and load up all the equipment that you no longer need or doesn't fit. Bring it down to the store and get paid on the spot. Play It Again Sports, across from the Nissan dealership on Greenville Boulevard.
The convenience of Pitt Greenville Airport is waiting just outside your front door. Service is back, so you're connected to destinations worldwide through flights from American Airlines. Plan your next trip. Book your flights today at flypgv.com or aa.com.
Good news, business travelers. PGV and American Airlines has added a new early morning flight available now. Book today at aa.com and be on time for that connection in Charlotte. Fast, convenient, and close to home, PGV has American flights perfect for your next trip. PGV, where the Pirates fly.
The time to save is now during the massive store closing liquidation at Bostic Sugg Furniture. After 89 years in business, they're closing their doors forever. Now, additional discounts have been taken on all remaining Serta mattresses. Every Serta mattress in every size and comfort level, all priced to sell immediately. You'll never ever see Serta mattresses at such drastically low prices again. Hurry to the massive store closing liquidation at Bostic Sugg Furniture, 2115 East Fire Tower Road in Greenville. See store for details.
Are you looking to purchase a new home, or are you considering refinancing your current mortgage? This is Talbot Green at Integrity Home Mortgage. We offer a wide variety of loan programs to help get you pre-approved. Our team of Talbot Green, Braxton Green, and Joanne Weir has over 50 years of experience and is committed to providing you with superior customer service you deserve.
To get started, call me, Joanne Weir, at 531-1148.
Joanne Weir in MLS 75974. For informational purposes only, Integrity Home Mortgage Corporation is an equal housing lender in MLS 208516.
This is Rajay Harris, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community-owned utilities mean local control, low rates, and high reliability. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back on this Tuesday. Joining us now from the capital city of North Carolina is Todd Gibson from CBS 17. I had a chance to briefly visit with him last night during the Carolina Hurricanes game with the Ottawa Senators. But I didn't get a chance to see him long. He was doing some stuff on one end. I was on the other end. But that was a long day for Todd Gibson, wasn't it, Gibby?
It was a long game for sure, Brian. It was a crazy game, too. There were so many elements in that game last night that it was a bizarre game. But the bottom line is the Hurricanes found a way to win and now up 2-0 in the series and looking pretty good. But last night's game, it was different, to say the least.
When I was watching it last night, and I don't know if you went live at 11:20 or what you guys were doing, but we came out all the way outside to go ahead and get outside and be there whenever while the second overtime was going on. It started right about 11:20, I think it was. So that was kind of different. And you're trying to watch, on a delay to make sure the goal's not scored while you're on the air. So that was kind of different. We had a screen about 2 inches, a square 2-inch, trying to watch that thing. But there were so many elements in it, and I said, hey, I'm glad I got Gibby tomorrow because he can explain some of this stuff, because I love going to the Hurricane games. I like, covering them. I like watching them on TV. But some of that stuff I still struggle with a little bit, and we'll talk about, more of that in just a second. But I got to tell you this. The man who won the second chance with the Sweet 16 contest is Todd Gibson. It's our first chance to congratulate him. We've got all these prizes for you, and we're going to hook up with you at some point. The second chance with the Sweet 16.
Second chance with the Sweet 16.
Gibby got 3 of the final 4 teams correct and really just wiped out everybody. Really, it was over with before it even started as far as our second chance with the Sweet 16 contest is concerned. But I wish I had a trophy for you, but I got some nice stuff. I got a great cooler. Russ Saputo and our sponsors over over at Carolina Eagle sent that over. That's great. Pirate Radio sent you some good stuff. A Tiebreaker sent you some good stuff. So we're going to hook you up.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, we are in the triangle here, so we should know basketball a little bit. But yeah, I thought Arizona was the best team, and so I picked them to win it. But I really kind of thought if I would have had the guts, I would have picked that team from up north to win it. But I can't even say their name. But they were definitely on my mind to win it. But I'm glad I didn't pick them.
As a true Ohio State fan, the man cannot say the syllables and the consonants that go with Michigan. So he has to.
Cannot say it.
Yeah, the maize and blue of the Wolverines of Michigan. All right, let's talk a little hockey now. What's your favorite part about covering the Hurricanes?
Just the guys themselves, Brian. They are tremendous. I think they feel like they need to try a little bit harder to promote the game and get it out there. So when it's time for interviews in the locker room, they're tired. And last night they were for sure, but they took the time to sit down with us and talk about the game and give us what we needed for our coverage. So that's the thing I like best. The guys are just really, really good guys. Easy to work with, and the game itself is so fast and it's so much fun to watch. You know that when you go to a game in person, it's so much different from what it is on TV. So the game itself is it's a wonderful game, and the guys are great, and we got a good team too, so that helps.
Yeah, it's really fascinating when you're there in person to watch. I always refer to them as linebackers on skates, but they're just, they just fly around. And when you see a beautiful goal, like the second goal last night was just incredible how everybody comes together and boom, you've got it stalled Sebastian Aho to make it 2-zip in that game. It just really brings everything to light about how fast it is. Some people say soccer's like that. I always think soccer's boring, but hockey's different because you do get a chance to smash somebody. I mean, we had a fight to start the series. That was great.
Yeah, and that's what makes hockey so unique. I didn't agree with that fight. I don't know what Tkachuk was thinking. The building was already fired up. I mean, why would you do that?
Yeah,
and it was just. I guess we know it's what he does, but that situation was probably not the best time. But yeah, just the way the hockey players play and just how much they put into it and how skilled they are with that stick. It's funny. Brindamore and those guys come back for alumni games. And one thing Roddy was known for was he was just a fantastic on the faceoffs. Well, he came back for an alumni game and went like 12 for 12 with faceoffs. Those guys, they get those skills as little kids, the stick handling and everything that goes with it, and they just don't lose it. And it's just amazing how that stays with them for years and years. And that just shows you how, in their prime, just how good they are at that stick handling and shooting. It's amazing. That's what I think is so cool about the game as well.
The word was that Tkachuk came out and said, want to go. If he'd asked me want to go, I'd be like, go where? What are we talking about? But I guess Jordan Stahl knew exactly what he was talking about, didn't he?
He did. And then Jordan's he's a big, huge guy. You think, he fights all the time. He doesn't. Well, no, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't like to fight. He doesn't want to fight. But in that situation, when you're being called out, you're the captain of the team. You got to do it, even if you're going to, get hit a couple times, but he stood his own for sure. I mean, he did really well in that fight. I don't know if he won it or not, but he did really well in that fight. But you got to do that in situations like that because your team is depending on you. You lead by example, and when you get called out like that, but you just got to do what you got to do.
I don't know if you were there or not. I think it was. It may have been the morning skate. I think it was the morning skate yesterday when someone asked Brindamore about maybe not having the success later in the playoffs that he would like or something about a championship. And Brindamore was a little salty, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's kind of unusual for him to be a little bit salty, but he was yesterday. He gets that way now and then, not very often, but he's going to stick up for his team. He's going to say what's right, and I think in that situation, he just felt it wasn't a really, really great question. It probably wasn't. I mean, these guys have been to the playoffs, 8 straight years, and I think that's the seventh straight time that they began the playoffs with getting a 2-0 lead. So they've had great success, and I just think that people think that, well, they have to get to the finals, and maybe they do to have a successful season. Probably this team does, but I think he gets a little bit tired of answering questions like that, and yesterday was a rare occasion where he kind of snapped back a little bit.
Yeah, he did. He kind of said, well, that's really a lazy way to look at it or something like that, and you could just see the gleam in his eye that he was not happy with it. Since 2016, here's a stat for you. Total North Carolina playoff wins for the Hurricanes, 48. For the Panthers, 0. For the Hornets, 0 since 2016.
Oh.
So all of the success professionally has come out of Raleigh.
Yeah, it really has, and we really don't cover the Hornets down here as much as we probably should. But I think the Panthers will change that here pretty soon. But that's an amazing stat right there. And if you'd have told me that stat, I would start thinking, yeah, that's probably true, because the Hornets and the Panthers playoff wise they haven't done anything. And here in the Triangle, I think the Panthers are starting to catch on just a little bit more. They'll never catch up with the Hurricanes, obviously, because that team's right here in the Triangle. But they're starting to like the Panthers a little bit more and follow the Panthers a little bit more. But hopefully they'll get that turned around a little bit, because they've been pretty dismal. Both of the franchises have been pretty dismal lately.
Any chance that down the road Raleigh could get Major League Baseball?
I just don't see it happening. I think that unfortunately Charlotte is the city here in North Carolina that's the golden child or whatever, and I think it would probably have a better chance of going there than it would here. But I would love to see it happen. I mean, I think we could support a Major League Baseball team here. I mean, we do well with the Durham Bulls always do really well, and a couple other of the minor league teams around the area that get fans to sprinkle off there as well. But I'm hearing, that's maybe something that could happen down the road, but I for some reason, Brian, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, it seems like Nashville's one of the teams or one of the cities they're looking at, and I think Nashville has a lot to offer.
It does.
There's some other cities out there that I think, but it would be nice. Maybe something else to have. It's great to have hockey that close. I mean, like we went to the game last night, and we still got back in town fairly early. Now you guys. When you guys go cover the morning skate, you're there all day. So you had like a 14-hour day at the Coliseum yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, it was. I always go for the morning skate. That way I get the interviews and the video that we need to send out to you guys and other affiliates that want to come and go live. And I just don't like I don't like them, especially in the playoffs. I don't like to miss a day of practice, because it's just you learn stuff. And you look at the different lines, you see who's out there, maybe might be hurting a little bit. We just don't know about, like, Seth Jarvis. He struggled. I mean, we're trying to figure out, is he hurt? I don't know if he's hurt or not, but you don't ask that question in the playoffs, because the coaches, they don't appreciate that, and they won't talk about injuries. But, watching Seth, he just hasn't been himself. So you want to go to practice, you want to evaluate him, you want to look at what he's doing and seeing if you can kind of figure out what's going on with him. But no, you want to go to practice, and you're right. It was a long day. It was like a 14, 15-hour day. But, hey, you get up the next morning, and you come over here to North Carolina and listen to Bobby Petrino talk.
Bobby Petrino. That'll be interesting coming up, that's for sure. All right, take us back to last night. In the first overtime, 17-18 in that first OT, Mark Jankowski off of a rebound. Looked like he shot, scored. Everybody's celebrating. All of the apps are going crazy. Carolina leads now 2-0. Final was 3-2. It's a final score. And then I saw everybody kind of lingering around the ice. So I stopped to watch. Did you know right away there was a chance for offsides? Did you know right away that we were going to get a penalty shot out of that deal? Take us through what you were thinking.
I was down in the tunnel, so I didn't see a whole lot. I'm hearing a lot about it, because I was down in the tunnel getting ready for to go to the locker room, because you got to be ready to go and get in there. They said that the Stahl did something with the puck. He didn't control the puck to go across the line, to get the offensive line, to get it into the neutrals, the offensive zone. And it's a play that the people are looking like, what in the world? What kind of call is that? So that was strange. Talking to Stahl afterwards, he didn't know what was going on. He didn't think that was the case. Of course he didn't. But and then I don't know what happened on the penalty shot. That was just amazing. But Jordan Martinook was he was kind of beside himself for not scoring the game winner on the penalty shot, and then of course he gets the game winner in the overtime. It's just the rightful thing to happen right there. That was awesome. That a guy like him, who's he's a plugger. He plugs and he prods and does anything he can for the team. For him to get the game winning overtime goal was just amazing. Loved it.
He got that goal at 13:53 of the second overtime, and so everybody goes home happy. But did you feel like that the Canes were outplayed pretty much the entire way after they led 2-0?
Yes, they definitely were until the second overtime. All that space in there from the time it was 2-0 all the way to the second overtime. I think that they were definitely outplayed. It seems like at the end of game one, it felt like Ottawa kind of got their feet to them and started kind of figuring things out. And then the whole game, after the 2-0 lead, Ottawa pretty much dominated play. I think they were the better team. But when the second overtime started, it seemed like Carolina was on top of it and back to their game. And hopefully they can carry that momentum over as they head on the road for Game 3 on Thursday.
When you go see a Hurricane game, are you amazed at all of the $300 plus jerseys that everybody's wearing? And you go into the gift shop there, and you got some dad who's carrying 3 of them for 3 of his kids. And I'm like, man, what did y'all rob a bank? I mean, these jerseys are expensive, and everybody's got one.
Well, yeah. Did you see how much tickets cost too? I mean,
I know
how much parking costs. I guess that crowd right there, I feel like they could afford to buy jerseys. But no, when I take Ryan to a game when he was younger, I said, "Don't even look at those jerseys, Ryan. Don't even look at that. I'm going to buy myself a $17 beer. Don't look.
That's right.
Don't look at that.
Yeah, don't look at that $17 beer. Good gosh, that's hilarious. But
no, it is a very expensive sport to watch. But thankfully, being in the media, we get to do it for free, and I'm loving it because I really enjoy working with those guys.
Yeah, I think they would be the type that you would enjoy because, as you said, especially at first, they're trying to almost sell their program. Now they don't have to sell it as much, but I think they still realize that the fans are very important parts of what they do. And the atmosphere, I just think if you're remotely, a sports fan, any kind of sports fan, just to go to Raleigh, to go to Lenovo Center, and to hear and see what goes on at a Hurricanes game. I mean, it's really fascinating.
It really is. And if anybody down east is listening and they've never been to a hockey game, I know the playoffs, it's going to be hard to get tickets for the playoffs because it's so expensive and they're just hard to get. But, next year, if you're listening down east and you want to come, you want to see something really cool, take the time to come up and go to a game one time. I guarantee you will. First of all, you'll love it, and it'll stick with you. It really will. It'll get in your blood, and it's just the way the game is played and how much fun it is in person. I think they'd fall in love with it and want to be somebody that would come back more often.
And they also do such a great job with the scoreboard and the video boards and the music and just the way that they kind of help create that atmosphere. When the other team sends somebody to the penalty box and, cheaters never win, cracks me up every time they show it. Because I have another saying I can't say on radio whenever I get a flag against, when the Cowboys are playing. But same type deal.
Exactly. And then even if you're not a hardcore hockey fan, there's once you get in there, you'll move towards being that. But there's so much more to keep you occupied with, like you talked about, the bright lights and the music, and they do fun stuff all through the game. So even if you're a casual hockey fan, you'll have a great time if you go to a game.
All right, Gibby, wrapping things up with you. What do we look at in this series? Canes lead at 2-0. Do they win it in 6? Does it take 7? Do they sweep going forward? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do for the goalie on Thursday. It might be time to put Bussey in there, but you get the extra day of rest for Freddie Anderson, who's not as young as he used to be. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think the Canes will win it in 6 games. I don't think it'll go 7. And it could go 5, but I definitely think the Canes are going to win, and I'm kind of leaning towards it being in 5. But I've been definitely wrong before. Just ask my wife.
Yeah, Anderson had 22 saves in the shutout in game one. Then he had 37 saves last night. Man, that's a long night for a goalkeeper too.
Yeah, he's playing his best hockey right now, which is cool because this is his last go. He most likely probably will not be with the Hurricanes next year. And for him right now, I think he's in a situation where he wants to go out with a bang, and I'm all for it.
Todd Gibson from CBS 17. Gibby, what days do you have off this week? Do you have any?
Days? Is that plural?
That was plural. Yeah, I know you guys are busy, man. I know you are.
I'm going to try and take Saturday off.
Oh, good. Well, there you go. Get you a Saturday off. That'll be good.
Will.
To get out with the family and that kind of thing. Todd Gibson joining us. Thank you so much, Gibby. Appreciate all of your knowledge on the Canes. We've got a lot of interest, I think, around Eastern North Carolina in the Carolina Hurricanes. So we'd like to have you on to kind of share some of that wealth of knowledge that you have. We certainly appreciate it.
I don't know about wealth of knowledge, Brian, but I was happy to be with you today. Thanks for having me.
All right, Todd Gibson joining us. We'll take our final break, and then we'll wrap up this edition of the Brian Bailey Show for you on this Tuesday right after this.
The new Papa John's oven toasted sandwiches are here. Try the Philly cheesesteak, chicken bacon ranch, and steak and mushroom starting at just $7.99. Chef-crafted oven toasted sandwiches filled with fresh toppings, melty sharp cheese, and savory sauces on ciabatta bread, brushed with special garlic sauce, and toasted. Available for pickup or delivery. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards and start earning points for your favorite menu items. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Go Pirates!
East Coast Grading and Utilities is your source for clearing, hauling dirt, and concrete work. East Coast Grading and Utilities handles all sewer and water issues as well.
I'm David Bond. Whether putting in a new subdivision or helping you with any and all of your drainage problems, I can get the job done. Call me at 531-7494.
No job is too big or too small. East Coast Grading and Utilities. Friends helping friends. 531-7494 for East Coast Grading and Utilities.
Come celebrate the next big Pirates win at the Rick House. The Rick House is Greenville and Eastern North Carolina's premier American-themed restaurant.
I'm Jeremy Shelton, General Manager at the Rick House. Come see us for a big city feel right here in Greenville. I guarantee you'll have a great experience.
We feature the very best bourbons around. Our made-from-scratch pastas are to die for, and nobody does steak like the Rick House. We also feature an early dining special from 4 to 6. Come see us at the Rick House, Red Banks Road in Greenville.
Do you want to get rid of wrinkles? How about tighten or lift your skin? Want a smoother skin texture or get rid of brown spots? Combining personalized treatments, expert training, and a deep passion for skin health, Beauty Bar MediSpa is dedicated to enhancing your skin and boosting your confidence from the inside out. Contact the licensed professionals for a free consultation and ask about their newest technologies and treatments. Beauty Bar MediSpa on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Enjoy your visit. Love your transformation.
Play ball! Greenville, it's time to play ball. The Greenville Yard Gnomes are back, and tickets are on sale now. Bring the whole family out for big hits, wild promotions, and non-stop fun all night long. From fireworks to theme nights, every game is an experience you don't want to miss. Cold drinks, great food, and the best atmosphere in town. Don't wait till it's sold out. Grab your seats now. Get your tickets today at yardgnomesbaseball.com or at the box office.
The Buccaneer Music Hall is your beacon of music in the land of the Pirates in ENC. Open at noon 7 days a week with live music. Come enjoy sports trivia with me, Clip Rock, every Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, it's live local acoustic night, along with line dancing from 7 to 9 on Wednesday. Thursday, there's a brand new lineup with Singo starting at 8, followed by karaoke with DJ Dog. Ladies and free both Friday and Saturday nights with the best local bands in the area. Finish the weekend with free games and DJ Kids Scene.
Y'all come get bucked up. This is Kim McNeil, head women's basketball coach at East Carolina University, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, working for our community, not for shareholders. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back as we wrap up this edition of The Brian Bailey Show. I want to talk a little bit about spring football. I thought the spring football game, and the weather around here is just crazy, but it was hot in the stadium. Although the guys put on a really good show, I thought it was neat that Coach Harrell put the 3-on-3 drill. They can't do the Oklahoma drill anymore because that's pretty much straight up. up. So they do this angled drill with kind of like 3-on-3. I think they call it Scuttle for East Carolina. Try to give it a pirate themed name. But I'm telling you, it's pretty violent. Even though it is at an angle, it's pretty violent. But you got a chance, the fans did, to see some of that, see the emotion the guys put out in practice. And then afterwards, we had a chance to interview the quarterbacks, Emory Williams and Mitch Griffiths, and I thought both of those guys really handled the media very well. I thought they were both very well spoken. They seemed to be really good teammates with one another, which I think is going to pay really big dividends coming up in the fall. I think it's going to be, I'm not sure who's going to win the starting job, but it just seems like, and everybody wants to start, but at least from the outside looking in, it looks like the guy who doesn't win the starting job is still going to be a very big asset to this Pirate football program. So I thought the spring football game, for what it is, it was very vanilla as far as the offense goes. Saw a couple of big plays, but that's about all you're going to get these days. And luckily, we do have a spring football game because some programs don't have spring football games like NC State. So you have that. But still, it was a good day to wrap up football, and then we'll get ready for fall camp coming up in August. I want to thank our guest for today, Dylan Johnson, the play-by-play voice of Pirate Baseball, for joining us. East Carolina and Old Dominion coming up this afternoon in that game in Norfolk, Virginia. And also want to thank my good friend Todd Gibson from CBS 17 as the Canes lead the Ottawa Senators 2-0 in that best-of-7 first-round series. That is our show for this Tuesday. We'll see you back here next week on The Brian Bailey Show.
This has been The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, and also brought to you by
Bojangles, Bostic Sugg, Michelob Ultra, East Coast Grading, Greenville Utilities, Papa John's, Pepsi, Taft and Hagler, The Rick House, and Tiebreakers.
Join us next week for another edition of The Brian Bailey Show, right here on